After a disappointing season in Tampa Bay that set the Raptors franchise back, in this video, we're going to look at what the Raptors need to do to make this season a success. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome to Amateur Hour Sports. This is the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. This is your Wednesday episode. We're talking about what the Raptors need to do to have success this season. So if you like what you see from today's video, you want more of myself talking about the NBA and the Raptors and videos and content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show support to the channel on a road to 7,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the great support coming on the channel very recently. It's very much appreciated. But let's get down to business for today, talking about the Toronto Raptors and their success and how we are going to define that this season, because defining success is a difficult thing to do, and it is extremely subjective to do, because for the Raptors this season, if they were to finish top 6 in the Eastern Conference but lose in the first round of the playoffs, I would consider that a success to a degree. But if the Brooklyn Nets came 5th or 6th in the Eastern Conference and lost in the first round of the playoffs, well, that would be a humongous failure. So every team defines success differently. And over the course of this video, we're going to figure out how we are going to define the Raptors' success this season, because they are coming off of their worst season in a very long time. They were nowhere near the playoff picture, eventually finishing with the 7th worst record in the NBA, ultimately landing them that prized possession, the 4th overall pick in the draft that ended up selecting Scottie Barnes. But it was an off year, and we weren't really expecting it. And Raptors fans, even though we were playing in Tampa, we knew we were going to struggle playing in Tampa, because not playing in front of the home crowd where the Raptors relish playing. I mean, over the last decade or so, the Raptors have one of the best home records in the entire NBA. So not having that home crowd behind you definitely affected the team, but it was still extremely disappointing, because 2 seasons ago, the Raptors were the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and we had thoughts of maybe going back-to-back. Then all of a sudden, they fall apart and miss the playoffs completely. And Masai Ujiri has said himself that the season in Tampa set the franchise back years. Set them back years, because over the course of the last year or so, we have lost many key players from the team. A lot of the guys who were part of that NBA championship. Kyle Lowry is gone. Marc Gasol left. I mean, he's about to retire. Serge Ibaka left as well. And we really felt the lack of the presence of those bigs that did leave the team. We lost Norman Powell, even though we replaced him with Gary Trent. So the Raptors have completely shifted away from that era. And the Tampa was just a bit of a transition to the new era of the Toronto Raptors, because as Raptors fans, we can't really expect the world from this team at this given point. It's kind of like it is what it is. Let's see what this young core can do together, because a young core is exactly what we have. A great young core at that. A young core that, as Raptors fans, you should be excited about. Getting Gary Trent was a nice pickup for Norman Powell, whose contract was expiring, and maybe we didn't want to pay him as much as the Trailblazers did. We also got Scottie Barnes from the draft. Of course, we have got Precious Achiuwa after getting him in the sign and trade with Kyle Lowry. We still have Malachi Flynn on the team and plenty of other decent prospects. So we're excited about the future of the franchise. But the fact of the matter is, we can be excited about the future. We still have to put something on the court right now. We still have to put something on the court next month when the NBA gets started. So how are we going to define the success of the team? Do we have to get back into the playoffs? I don't really think we do need to get back into the playoffs. I think that success for the Raptors this season is going to go well beyond just, on-court performances for sure, but results may not be the biggest thing for the Raptors. Now, last season, I would consider that season a failure. Ultimately, we started to tank, but we didn't want to be in a position where we had to tank. We wanted to continue to be a good team, and the Raptors were 4th in the Eastern Conference before a little mini COVID outbreak happened within their organization, and we completely fell off the face of the earth. I can understand that, but still, you got to hold the team accountable for that performance, because it was surely not what they were expecting going into the season. So we're on greener pastures now. We're back in the Scotiabank Arena, which is fantastic, but the wins aren't the thing I'm going to be most concerned about here with the Raptors, because the fact is they are going to really struggle to get into the playoffs this year. And that's not really an indictment against the Raptors core. That's more of saying the Eastern Conference just got a lot better. You know, there's obviously those big contenders at the top. Miami improved themselves a lot. Also, the Atlanta Hawks and New York Knicks have gotten better. The Chicago Bulls got a lot better. And, you know, there's obviously the contenders in there in Philly, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn. So it's going to be very difficult for the Raptors to get past any of those teams. So I think we're looking looking more like a play-in tournament team, a team who is good enough to be in that play-in tournament situation with the likes of, I'd say, Chicago, maybe Boston, maybe Indiana, maybe Charlotte as well. But to say that we're like in that for sure top 6 in the Eastern Conference, I'm not ready to say that yet. So if we are in the mix for that play-in tournament, we're probably looking at a first-round exit if we get to the playoffs. And if we're just looking at a first-round exit, well, Masai Ujiri, who was quoted as saying, playing for what, might decide again, playing for what, and not want to make the play-in tournament. So that's a little bit of my fear for the Raptors is they may not want to just truly get to that play-in tournament. They may decide that, last year we tried our luck with the lottery and it ended up working. Why not try our luck again? Because we can afford to take that gamble again. That's a bit of my fear. With this team, I think they can finish anywhere from the 5 seed all the way down to completely missing the play-in tournament because of the ability to tank or the ability to surprise and thrive with this great culture that we're building. Siakam is going to have a bounce-back season. Van Vliet, I think, is going to get even better. OG is in for another big jump in his career. Scottie Barnes is going to bring that positive energy to the team. This positive energy and a lack of expectations for this team. This is the first time in a while there are really no expectations. So go out there and express yourselves on the court. And that's the key thing for success, in my opinion. It's not going to be about the win-loss. Obviously, I'm going to be upset if we're losing a lot of games, like any fan of any sports team. But the most important thing for the Raptors is to see personal development amongst their players, as well as the core growing together, the core developing together. So each individual player of that young core needs to continue to improve their own game. But the team needs to build together as a unit, to be stronger as a unit and as individuals over the course of the next 2 years. So expectation-wise, I think we're going to be, if we're trying to win as many games as possible, to be in that play-in situation. I think ideally we host one of those play-in games. I'm not a big fan of the play-in tournament, but it brings viewers, it brings in revenue, so I understand why the NBA does it. Regardless, I think the Raptors are going to be in that mix. And regardless of whether we get to the playoffs or whether we don't, the season is going to be defined based on multiple things. I think the most important thing for this season that most people are going to define the Raptors by is Scottie Barnes. And maybe a little bit of Pascal Siakam. If Pascal Siakam can bounce back, then Raptors fans are going to be a lot more trusting of him in the future. And also, we need to see a good season from Scottie Barnes. Is he going to have the best season? Maybe not. In terms of the Rookie of the Year conversation, I don't think he's going to be in it because the reality is there are 4 guys who are more NBA ready than him in Cunningham, Mobley, Green, and Suggs. Suggs, maybe in the future, won't be as good as Scottie Barnes, but in year 1, I feel like Suggs is a little bit more NBA ready, so he might outperform Scottie Barnes for this season. But I want to see good steps in the right direction for Scottie Barnes to know that we can be comfortable with this selection. There were question marks on draft night about the Raptors drafting Scottie Barnes. Those questions have been eased over the last few weeks, as I've mentioned many times on this channel. However, we still need to see on court what he can do to truly believe in the pick. Maybe he's not going to be the most formidable player, but as long as there's those good signs that we can work with for the future, then we can absolutely accept that as Raptors fans. And we can put a lot more trust and faith in the organization. So with all of that in mind, success is going to be defined based on the way this team grows. It's not going to be defined based on making the playoffs. It's not going to be defined on a win-loss record. And we are definitely not in any sort of situation where it is
playoffs
or bust. But I think that a lot of Raptors fans in general just need to get their trust back in the organization. And that just doesn't happen. I'm not just going to tell you to get your trust back. We need to have our trust earned by this team. Can they go on the court and show to us as Raptors fans that they're ready to take the step in the right direction, that they're on a trajectory to be successful, to be back in the Eastern Conference contention conversation in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years? Can we trust the front office to make the right decisions? Because last season, I think a lot of us are saying that the front office didn't make the right decisions. They brought in Aaron Baines to replace Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. Why did we let those guys walk? So there were a lot of conversations about the front office. So we need to put our trust back in them, but it's all earned. And it's going to take time to earn that trust. It's not just going to happen overnight. It's not just going to happen with one game. But can we see on a consistent basis OG Anunoby improving, Pascal Siakam bouncing back, Fred VanVleet getting better, Scottie Barnes getting better, Malachi Flynn getting better, and much, much more. Can we see the consistency within this team to find that trajectory to get themselves back in the conversation? Because about 10 years ago, we were in this position maybe with less hopes. But now that we've tasted success, it's addictive. We want to see that success again. But the reality is we have to be patient with this organization. Raptors have more of an expectation now to be good rather than 10 years ago where they were expected to be bad. We need this team to get back to where they need to be, but we as fans need to understand that it's going to be a process. It's going to be a process to get to that situation. But all in all, the definition of success for this team is growth. In one word, it's growth. Growing as a team, growing as individuals, to know that there are greener pastures on the horizon and we want to be in a better place in 3 or 4 years. But this year is the year where we must lay the foundation for that future success. What do you guys think about this? What would you say defines the Raptors' success for the season? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments down below, because that wraps up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button. If you did enjoy, it really goes a long way to helping us reach some new viewers to the channel. And also subscribe to the channel on a road to 7,000 subs for more videos. You can also hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our 4 uploads a week. The link's around me right now. You can check out the Amateur Clips channel, the best highlights from our Twitch streams. Also watch the Twitch streams live at twitch.tv/amateursports, link in the description. Check out the other channel, Amateur TV. We're putting a vlog out later today, and Raptors fan interviews downtown. That's coming out tomorrow. Always remember, at the end of the day, I believe what I say, and if you disagree, that is okay. See you again next time for another video.